Well, everybody, I do get to learn a lot as I do these interviews. And today, I want to start the second show off with something we talked about in the first show. That servant heart mentality, and why that's good for business. Stay tuned, everybody. Giddy up. So with that, we're back in here talking with my new friend, Eric Wolff. He's a master electrician also, by the way, owner of Wolff Electrical Services, officially since 2008, but you've been doing this, how many years before that would you say you were actually?
Not to date myself, but I graduated high school in '93.
Okay.
And had my first install a ceiling fan for a friend, in '93. So, been doing it since then, but.
There you go. Yeah. I graduated in '90, so now we know exactly how old Eric is too. Do the math and all that. It's all right. Us guys, as we get older, girls, it's a different strategy there for that. But hey, such is life. This is the world we live in, and this is the way God made it. Tell me though, what is it that you would say sets you apart? And I've already got some good indication here, but I'd like to hear you say it. What is it you feel?
The best thing that sets the business apart from other ones is. We're all about the relationships with our customers, not the one and done. We're about multiple services. How we can take care of them all the time, not just one time. It's not all about the money. It's about the relationship we build.
That's key, and I'll get out the pencil another time for that one. And I was talking to Eric during the show. I called my mom. Everybody knows Mrs. Rethwish. You do not mess with Mrs. R. She's got the building named after her for a reason. She's not made tons and tons of money, but she's very happy with the way she's lived her life because she does take the time to help other people. And even if that is to be stern and to the point, that's the way thank God she was that way with me, because I would have been a train wreck like any other kid that doesn't have any kind of guidance, and maybe more so than many. But that servant mentality, it actually provides for this happy time you have on this short time we have on this little planet. And all the money in the world. I was telling my mom, things are going well. I could do these things and da-da-da. She's like, Carter, she looked, I'll put the camera. Carter, making lots of money is not what makes you happy. And I looked at her and I said, you're right. I know some people are
can't take it with you.
And they can't, so that's, bottom line, if you want to feel good about yourself, help other people, and then the money will actually come too many times often because you learn a skill and you develop relationships and it turns into a business. Great strategy there. I like that. You talk about the fact you do residential and commercial, and you said to me about 90% residential, and then the 10% commercial. Very selective about who it is because you've got relationships there as well.
We do.
Different bags.
We thrive on the residential side of things. It's a more personal relationship with our customers because it's face to face a lot of times. It's nothing against commercial, but sometimes we just work for a general contractor and you don't ever get to meet the customer. So you're working for somebody you don't ever get to meet sometimes, and I like the personal relationships. So that's why we kind of structure it that way. But we do commercial work. It just depends on who it is.
Yeah, and it makes sense because ultimately you got to be happy. You got to enjoy what you're doing. They say, do what you love. You'll never work a day in your life. And if you're a personable kind of guy, you like being around people. You want to talk to it's also easier to work with the consumer at the residential level because you're talking to the boss, right? They make the decision like right there on the spot versus hold on, let me go back to talk to get approval. Can we do that? Oh, we got it. That wasn't in our budget.
Wait days for a decision.
Wait days and you got to come back and start over. No, I get it. That makes a lot of sense. Well, tell me then, what is the time you've got a lot of times I can imagine after looking at all those reviews. Everybody, take a look at that first show. Everybody, a ton of reviews, 700 and something. I had it on my screen here a second ago. Over 700 reviews, a 5.0 average. Really impressive. But I can imagine then, you just told me, I said, be ready. I want you to tell me a story about a time you helped somebody. You recently had one that came to mind.
Yeah, I had one that I was going to tell you about, but my first one that still sits there, and it's on our review list, especially on the web page, is Amanda. I was younger in the business, but she had just bought this house, first house, her husband and her two kids, and I had a real good relationship with her real estate agent. Went over there, did the inspection for her, looked at a lot of stuff, and we had a couple things we were going to fix before they moved in, and it was going to be that, and it was great. They bought the house, closed on the house, got everything ready to go, and the day before they moved in, somebody broke into the house and stripped out all the wire of the whole house. So she had no idea. She got there, opened the door, and I think the 2 phone calls, it was strange, but the 2 phone calls, one to her agent and one to me. And then I came straight over there. We figured out what was going on, and I ended up taking care of that for her. I felt so bad. I mean, it was just that first house, and the look on the little kids' faces like, we can't move in here. So, at the time it was just me and one other guy, and we spent the weekend doing it. We got the house back up, and I think I did it at what material cost was. I didn't even charge her for my labor.
Wow.
So, and that's one of the things that we like to, kind of emphasize. Again, it's not all about the money; it's about the relationship. And I just saw a post from her the other day that her daughter is old enough to be in college now, which is making me feel really old. But
Yeah.
she's doing her things now. So where would they have been if they would have had to come out with all this money? Because on an average home rewire like that, it would have been tens of thousands of dollars.
Wow, that's a great story, because it is ultimately like you talked about. I mean, how often do we all end up in some situation? We talked about in the first show, Mike, if everybody didn't do everything right, I wouldn't be here today after the accident, driver that hit us. But how often is it that you just as a matter of function, if everybody was a cutthroat, go get them, make millions of dollars, we'd all be dead by now, right? Everybody would, and thank goodness.
It'd be really tough.
Thank goodness that most of us just enjoy helping other people. You still do need those driven people that are going to be innovators. Some of them I think are a little too cutthroat. There's some big things that we saw in the last few years were just kind of crazy with the way we're trying to control things and manipulate things and misrepresent things. But ultimately that stuff all comes out anyway. That's starting to come out from some of the craziness we've seen. And we've seen that since the beginning of time, by the way. Just it's communicated differently now with social media and interwebs and all that stuff. But bottom line is ultimately do what's right, help people, focus on what you can to make the world a better place, and you then will be happy. Is that fair to say?
It is. It's you learn from your mistakes. And again, I wasn't, nobody's perfect, and I wasn't running, the perfect business in the very beginning. But I made a lot of mistakes, and I had to learn from that. And learning from that was where I grew and understood a lot of the other things. If I just change this simple thing, it means so much more to the customer other than just stroking you a check.
Yeah, and it's back to then, and we all struggle with. I remember my first few days, after college, I was lucky to survive and make it through college, and I was determined, stuck with it. They would walk me to class. That was crazy. I don't even remember that, but I wouldn't quit. Some of you are like, Carter should not be here. He doesn't know how to get to his own classes. My brain was still scrambled. You think I'm messed up now? You should have seen me back then. But we stick with things, and then we learn, and then we get to that point where we're like, oh, well, now I've got to make a living. How often is it, though, that people, I'm getting on a little bit of a tangent here, I like what you're talking about, where kids, like, they're struggling, they get in a desperate situation, so that's where they make that bad decision, saying, hey, I need this money right now, and if I don't do whatever it is that gets up to including theft or whatever, or misrepresenting something, which leads to another form of theft.
Very tough.
Those decisions, man, those are hard to recover from, especially if you make that kind of decision just a few times. The word will spread, and your life just became very difficult long term.
Not having the right structure up front will lead you down that path, and then sometimes it's recoverable, sometimes it's not, but it's all in who you surround yourself with that can help you through all that.
There you go, another one. Who you surround yourself with is so critical to the longevity and the happiness and success of your life. Get around, there's a book or some specialist expert talks about, I'll show me the 6 people you hang around with, and I'll show you where your life is going to go. Based on what types of people they are, whether they're the knockout, go-get-em business guys, or the people that have struggled and gone through difficult situations, or the people that have been treating other people well. Those are the kinds of people you should associate yourself with. And if you want to be a very successful businessman, associate with those people. Make sure they're the right kinds of business people, because that's short-term gain. We see so many business, we got this whiz-bang thing, it's going to be the latest thing, and we can make a bunch of money and then take our money and run. Not good strategy for life, unless you're going to not be here too long.
Short-term is great.
Long-term, not so much.
Not so much.
Very good. All right. Talk about the media, everybody. And media is what our show is really kind of based on here. Obviously, we like to use the media for the positive things we can do. The book that I wrote the foreword for, there it is, Magnetized Media. Foreword written by the Cardinal Cowboy. brought me in and actually had me on the other day, said, Carter, you're the master of this stuff, help us with this little niche. I'm not good at much, but when you need to get attention, I've learned ways to do that. And the key to that attention is you've got to be doing it for the right reasons, and you got to be doing it to help people. Or else if people find out very quickly that it was just disingenuous and you weren't doing things to make the world a better place. Sometimes you're going to get attention and you didn't even intend to. Sometimes you're going to get attention and you did intend to. People are going to misunderstand what you're doing. But as long as on the other end they can see that you're trying to help people, that's what you got to stick with, or else it won't make it. But how has technology, with that in mind, how has technology changed your world and what you have to do, and especially from electronics or electrical standpoint, low voltage, alarms, garage door openers, and now they're all integrated and interworking and connected to the interwebs.
I don't want to keep dating ourselves, but you know, we grew up in the analog world. Simple, and then
The modem.
and then it got faster and faster, and everybody wants everything right now. So at your fingertips, you know, I remember my first cell phone was a bag phone. You know, you didn't want to be on it too long because it cost a lot of money.
Minutes added up.
Yeah, and then the phone got really big, and then it got really small again, and now we're back to a one little small size. But everything on that technology is on your phone, and I see some people that just cannot function without that phone. And we try to embrace technology, you know, because a lot of people are going to have it in their house. A lot of people don't go to office buildings anymore; they work from home, which is great if you can do that. But a lot of that technology needs to be set up correctly. You know, is it from a wireless network, having the right fiber in place, the right, you know, Cat6 in place, you know, data lines, having the right electricity in place, having the right, you know, items in the right areas of what you need, either from a business at home or just from the general things that you're plugging into the house. You know, back in the day it was coax cables to every single TV.
Right.
Then it left. And then it was just a phone line to every TV. Then it was back to wireless, and then it was HDMI cables. And then now most of that HDMI is gone, and it's back to other things, and it's all wireless. It's that wash, rinse, and repeat stuff. So what's going to be the fastest and the easiest? And we have to keep up on that. And I'm glad I have a younger audience of not just apprentices, but other journeyman electricians that were able to keep up with some of that, because, you know, I spend some time focusing on the business, not so much on some of the technology, and I have to learn it just as quickly, but I have other people that work with the company that understand it a lot better than I do sometimes, and they explain stuff to me, because if, you know, I'm not a master at everything. I'm just, you know, I'm a master at particular things, but you grow out of that. You can't stay a master at everything or all particular things all the time, because life and society and all that stuff, technology passes us up. So we have to continue our education on understanding everything. So, but that's why I love being surrounded by some of my other guys, you know, and some of my other people that I work with in the network that understand all that. So I can ask questions, and sometimes I don't feel so dumb when I ask a question. They're like, no, that's okay, that just changed. I'm like, oh, thank you. Okay. It wasn't just me pushing the wrong button, you know.
Oh, that's the way the world is, and I get in that debate all the time, because it's a cost analysis we talked about in the first show. We share with everybody a little bit, but do you need the latest technology to function? Do you need the latest technology to run your business? There's some advantages, because you can use the things faster, they're more organized. AI is really going to change the world right now, but many times the old tried and true will be what you need to get the job done, until you get to the point where you're required to get to some technology. So it's just that constant juggling. And I end up consulting a lot of businesses along those lines, because it is something that always evolving, always changing. How long until we get to the singularity, everybody? Go look what that is. But when everything's being done for us, all the computers are all manufacturing and producing everything, and now we can just live in that utopia that we've all dreamed of, and it's all going to come from technology. Up until the technology doesn't work. And electrical is so important for all of that.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It's a problem sometimes, and people sometimes just don't say the right things or act the right way when they don't get the things right instantly, and sometimes it's just a simple flick of a switch. We can get that taken care of, and other times it's a rebuild.
A rebuild, everybody. How often do we want to go through the rebuild process? But it's necessary sometimes, because it costs more to do it any other way, and so that's where we end up in that kind of a position, because if we're not doing it, then we're going to have a lot more problems. So, all right, with that, we're going to share a little bit more about what we're doing in the community. Stay tuned for that, everybody, and we'll be back here in just a minute.
His name is Carter Rethwish, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwish was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up.
Different timings, adult strength, youth strength and conditioning, and then different age groups.
Cool.
So
What are your
you just
normal-
walk in the door, talk to one of our coaches, and they'll be able to give you a good rundown, do an evaluation assessment, fit your needs for what our training programming is.
So you can keep this Cardinal Cowboy in shape, or maybe get me in a little bit of shape, everybody?
That's right.
All right. What are your normal hours?
So someone can be here as early as 5:30. When we have adults that are interested in 5:30, we'd open up to 5:30. But
I go to
also
bed about that sometimes, everybody.
8 until about 6:37.
Okay.
8 a.m. to about 6:37 p.m.
Okay. And so how many days a week?
Monday through Saturday.
Okay. And on the day of rest on Sunday?
Yes,
for everybody.
that's right.
All right, cool. Let's take a couple little walk through here. I want you to show me a little bit more of the equipment. I'm going to tell my camera guy to follow us over here.
Okay.
Come on, camera guy. Cardinal Cowboy here. I want to invite all of you to be part of my new team. No, you don't have to put on a baseball uniform and be a super fan. Now, it would be a good idea to cheer for the Cardinals, the greatest team in the history of the National League. But I'm talking about the Gold Cowboy team. You know, I love to help people follow their dreams and reach their goals in business and in life. So that's one of the reasons why I'm telling you about my friends at My Metal Pro. They help people like you and I acquire gold and silver with a membership that lets you safely buy, sell, and store gold and silver. They make it real easy to get started. My Metal Pro isn't like the big guys you see on network TV or the big coin shops that take a huge commission. So become part of my Gold Cowboy team. Scan the QR code or go to goldcowboy.com and check it out. Giddy up! Well, there we go. So a little bit of what you can do to improve your lifestyle with investment in yourself through gold. I mean, you can't work every day all the time, but you can put money in things that appreciate. And I had not realized how gold had appreciated so much since 1970 when it broke off from the standard. It was backing the dollar. When they broke it off, then gold went, whoop, take a look at it. And it's outperformed the S&P, everybody. And those guys, they're the experts. I'm teamed up with these guys. Go to Cowboy Gold. There it is, cowboygold.com to get more information. With that, tell us the process. I can only imagine that by now a lot of people are very interested. You obviously know what you're doing. You've been doing this for a long time. You do enjoy and appreciate really just helping people. That's very genuine and sincere. We can tell that. If somebody was wanting to hire you, obviously, what's the process?
Yeah, process is very easy. You know, in the very beginning, when it was just me, it was me. I was the whole process. But as I grow in life and as the company grew, you know, I had to change those processes. But easiest way right now, and it seems to be where everybody just enjoys this is jumping online, wolfelectricalservices.com. You open up the website itself, and it asks you a couple of general questions. Do you need a service call, or do you need an estimate? You can jump on there and see that, and if it asks you for some simple information, we don't gather this just to send you on some recruiting platform or send you all kinds of junk mail. This is just so we can get you the best service up front right away. Once you fill that out, the girls at the office will give you a call. They'll schedule with you on your time, see what we have available, and we'll send a technician out. If it's an estimate, like I said, the first hour of the estimate, most estimates take about 30, 45 minutes, depending on what's needed, but those are free. I don't charge for those. And then if you like the estimate, we see it, shoot you a bid, you open it up, you take a look at it, you hit the thumbs up or the approve button. That triggers the recall back from the girls from the office, and they get it set up for you.
So you use some technology there to automate, systematize when somebody accepts it. They get automatic prompts to say, call this person back. They've accepted the. I just recently did that with the purchase of our HVAC units. It's a contract, got some sponsorship stuff going on, tied into all this, and some. But I did get approved, and as soon as I did that, then it initiated them, and they got a call, and then automate. That's a cool way to get things done, and that's technology.
Yeah, we've had a lot of positive feedback, because in the very beginning, I was more of the hands-on person. Right. And my wife convinced me that you can't do this all the time, because I was doing it all the time, and it was standard practice for me to work all day long, do this, do that, spend a little time with her, and be up to midnight doing everything else for the next day, and then wash, rinse, and repeat. But our new process, it keeps the customer engaged through the whole process, so they know who's coming, they know what's up with the process they are. They have a picture of the technician that's coming to the door, so they know who to answer the door to.
Very good. That's what the technology is there for, to make things more systematized. As long as we've got humans, if you're counting on humans doing everything, we tend to have, it's almost, I make the joke that we were designed here for the enjoyment and fulfillment of our creator, right? And he deliberately left us short in a couple areas. Like, we all have short-term memory. Very true. I can think about what I need to do, and then I'll walk across the room, and then I'll think about something else. It's not like I just forgot about it, but then I'll think about something else. But by the time I got to the door where I was going to go do what I was going to do, I forgot what it was. And that's just the way humans are.
Squirrel moment.
Right? And tell me if I'm wrong, but that seems like I'm not the only one, right?
No.
And that's the process, and that's so then when you have these systems in place, it keeps things in check so that things do automatically get done, or at least lined up to be prepared, so that when the actual work is being done, everybody knows what they're doing.
Yeah, every generation has their new form of communication. That's why one of the questions on there is, what's the best form of communication? So we know.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right. I guessed had on the show. Mr. Wolff talked about it. Does a lot of magical stuff around the community. One of the largest inspection companies in the country, I think. But also does roofing. And anyway, his point was, he goes, when you're sitting down with somebody and remodeling, he goes, when you're sitting down with somebody, if it's somebody over 60 or above, they want to sit down and talk to you about it for half an hour. If it's somebody in that middle age group, you better be sending them a text or reminder or a website. And if it's a young millennials, or what do we call them? Anybody from 25, 30 or under, don't look them in the eye. Send them a text, communicate back and forth via text, and then they will make a decision based on what they can glean from the information that you're sharing with them. But this is the way we have to deal with everybody, or else.
Chris is right. I know Chris very well.
And Chris is one of the best business guys around here. It's such a good guy. That's good to hear, because Chris is a good dude. I just talked to him the other day. With that, I can only imagine there's been a couple challenges you've had to overcome as a business owner. If you would care to share just some of what you might have learned, and you talked about when you're starting off on your own, and then what would you say is a couple of the biggest lessons you learned that really helped you grow?
Some of the biggest lessons is you don't have to finance everything. That's one of the big things is growing up. You're bombarded by credit, right. And that's just what I thought all businesses were. You had to credit and put everything on credit and do this and do that, and then you make a bunch of mistakes. You find out things, you figure out things, but one of the biggest things is it's a myth. You don't have to buy everything on credit. You don't have to finance everything. If you structure your business correctly and you have the right attitude and you have the right people to help you and support you through that. And my wife is a big contributor to that, because she's like the bookkeeper, and they got all those fancy names and abbreviations, but she keeps us all on track because that's her world. My world is the electrical side, but that was one of the big things in the business, that you can survive, you can run a business correctly and right, and be able to sleep at night not knowing that everything's okay.
Yeah, and that's the key to life. I mean, you get yourself overwhelmed with that. I'll never forget, I won't name specifically because I don't even remember, but some organization, I think I do recall, but get these CDs. And if you just buy these 3 songs, then it turns out I was going to send you a weekly CD. And then you got a CD with all the music, and then you got a collection of CDs. And by the way, then we offer a credit card for you too. And then they start getting you, in a matter of time, you got all this credit card debt wrapped up, and they know how the business runs, and they go, I'll pay the minimum. Well, you pay the minimum on a credit card, you're paying 20, 25, 30%. They're making a lot of money.
And that's what they want you to do.
Only finance what you absolutely have. I'll make an excuse
Correct.
for myself, but literally I bought some equipment for our studio, and I got a little payment plan for it, but I made sure that I had the revenue coming in that I could track based on a proven history of our production here that would generate the revenue to cover that.
Yeah.
And if you're going to go out and just spend it and then you don't have a plan to pay it off, that's where they really get you.
It's tough, yeah. We've gone through the Dave Ramsey financial piece, and she's done it twice and I've done it once, and it's tough, because sometimes you just want what you want, and you got to realize that's not the case all the time. So
Oh, so true, yeah. We're always bombarded with, you should buy this, and here's this gimmick, and here's this gizmo, and all these things. And I just look at things like, do I need that? Is it something I absolutely have to have? Sometimes it's true, especially business related. But if it's just something from around, people, Cardinal, don't you have all kinds of Cardinal gear? No. I mean, I've got some that gets given to me, but I have 3 jerseys that are custom made, 2 more that were modified from a custom thing, and that's all I've got. It's like, you're going to see me, I'm going to be wearing one of these 5. But that's all I need. And those are the things we should learn to juggle. Then it allows us to save money and provide for our long term. I like that tip that you're giving everybody there. Tell me then also, how do you, what gives you the most satisfaction for what you get to do? When it boils down to it at the end of the day, what do you enjoy most about what you're doing? We've only got about 2 minutes left here. I want to talk about your favorite.
yeah, I mean, the most satisfaction is giving and working and being able to work. I get to work every day. I don't have to. I get to work every day, and I love that, because when I have that mindset, when I do the best I can every single day, and I take care of my clients and take care of whatever else comes up, because stuff does come up, and I know at the end of the day that's what's expected, and that's what serving means to me, is doing everything that needed to be done.
I like the way you say that. We get to work. So many people would love to work, but they can't because of whatever happened, disability, whatever. And it's a blessing to be able to work. Finish up here real quick. Got a few seconds left.
Yeah.
Your favorite organization. I'm going to put this up on the screen. I'll go to the wide screen that you feel is somebody.
Yeah, I've worked with
contributes to the
5 Acres Animal Shelter for a long time. I served on the board there for 9 or 10 years. I can't remember, because I just started off pooping scooping there because I'd lost my dog and I needed somewhere to kind of spend a little extra time before I went home to the empty household. Now I did have some cats, but it just wasn't the same at the time, and I fell in love with the place, and it grew and grew and grew, and then I was growing my business, so I had to not part ways. I still work with them. I still foster for them. I do other things, but anything in the animal world, I'd love to be part of.
Very good. Stay tuned for more, everybody. The Your Little Castle Show. We'll be back. Giddy up.